Representing data, example 3. This is an examination question from November 2004, where we are presented with two stem and leaf diagrams. This is two taxi drivers who've recorded the number of miles they travel each day. We have a key underneath, 18 in the stem and a 0 for the leaf means 180. And 18 in the stem and 4 for the leaf means 184 for Asif. Notice how Keith's data goes from right to left and Asif's data goes from left to right. We've got totals here as well. And if I just quickly add those up, because we'll need to know those later, that's 42. And for Keith, he'd done one more. They add up to 43. So the first part of the question gives us a table. Some of the quartiles have been calculated and we have to work out the others. So let's have a look, for example, at Keith's median. That's B. So we know that his median is calculated using n over 2, and for Keith n is 43. So if we divide that by 2, that is 21.5, and remember that rule, if it's a decimal, we round up and we look for the 22nd value. Now we can use these totals. The first two rows add up to 20, and then remember to start at the stem. 21, 22, so it's this value here. We've got 20 in the stem and 2 is the leaf. 20 in the stem, 2 is the leaf. So that's 202. So that's B. That's this median here. Let's go over to Asif now, and we want to know his lower quartile. So the lower quartile is n over 4. He's done 42 journeys. So 42 divided by 4, that works out to be 10.5. And again, because that's a decimal, using the rule, we round it up to the 11th. The first two rows here add up to 9, 10, 11. So it's this value here, and that also is 202. So that's A. Final one, C, down here, Q3, 3n over 4. It's for Asif, so it's 42 values. And if we work that out, that comes to be 31.5. So again, we round up and we want the 32nd value. So if we count down this list, 9 add 6 is 15, 22, 29, so it's going to be on this next row, 30, 31, 32. So it's this value here, and that's 23 in the stem and 3 is a leaf, 233, and that's our value of C. So that's the first part there, only 3 marks for that one. It then tells us that outliers are values that lie outside these limits, and it asks us to do a box plot for Keith's data. Now it doesn't say work out the outliers, but it's clear from what's given in the question that they want us to work out the outliers. So we're focusing on Keith's data on this side. Remember B was 202, so we'll need to know that. So we're going to focus on Keith's data. So if we look at the outliers, if we do Q1 minus 1.5 Q3 minus Q1, let's see what we get. Well, Q1 was 191, and we're going to subtract from that 1.5 times Q3 minus Q1. And if you work that out using your calculator, it works out to be 146. What that means is that because this is a lower one, anything below 146 is an outlier. Now if we look at the top, the lowest value is 180. So there are no outliers, no values that are below 146. If we look at the other end, Q3 plus 1.5 times Q3 minus Q1, we can have 221 plus 1.5 times 221 minus 191. And if you work that out, that works out to be 266. That's our upper boundary, so anything above 266 is an outlier. Look at the bottom here, we can see that 263 is not an outlier, but 269 is an outlier because it's beyond 266. Just scrolling down then at the side, making sure we can still see all that data. We now need to draw a box plot. Now, the lowest value was about 180. The highest one I think was 269. So if we label the scale along the bottom, 180, 190, 200, 210, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 and 270. Very often they provide you with the axis. Now, if we look back at the data, you'll see the very smallest value for Keith was 180. So I'm going to make a little mark at this end at 180. We know 269 was the highest value, but that was an outlier. So remember, we mark those with a cross. You then, if you know the original data, take your whisker on the box and whisker diagram to the next value, which is 263. If we didn't actually know the raw data, we would go out to the outlier boundary, which is 266. Either is acceptable, but if you do know the original data, I would go to the next item of data with your whisker, which is 263. So that would be here. And then the three quartiles, we know that 191 was given to us in the table. That's the bottom of the box. The median worked out to be 202. We had to work that out ourselves. And the upper quartile is 221. So they're the main features. Notice how, again, we've got the cross for the outlier. Draw a line across the top of the box. Line across the bottom. We don't need labels. Q1, Q2. Don't need those. And that's what your box plot should look like. We need to label the scale. So it was number of miles across the bottom.